Hi, I'm Luke. In this presentation, I'll be going over several topics regarding the emu bush, also called Eremophila, a plant intrinsic to both medicine and the culture of Indigenous Australians. Firstly, I'll introduce you to the Eremophila, then I'll discuss where it can be found and where it will flourish. Nextly, I'll discuss the several methods which it would be used, including as a smoke and as a tea. Lastly, I'll go over its ceremonial use. Okay, let's take a look at the Eremophila. The genus itself gives description to around 260 variations within the figwort family called Scrophulariaceae. The family is only native to Australia. Descriptively, the flowers of the Eremophila are quite intricate, as can be seen by the purple flower in Figure 2. Their colours, however, vary. Commonly, red, purple, lilac, mauve are observed. Less commonly, however, green, white, and a combination of several colours can occur. The flower itself can be characterized by 5 spreading sepals and 5 petals, joined to a tube attached to the plant's stem. The genus varies greatly in size. The array of plants may come as small shrubs or small trees, which are still quite tall, as can be seen in Figure 1. Also, as you may have guessed, the emu bush may have something to do with emus. Well, you are correct in fact. Emus favor the plant as a source of food. I'll show you a better image in the next slide. This purple flower belongs to the Eremophila hygrofauna variation of the plant. The Eremophila grows mainly in semi-arid to arid areas. The plant itself is characterized by its high tolerance to fire, frost, and grazing. The shrub can often be observed flourishing in harsh environments where other plants could not. Growth of the shrub in such areas can be indicative of poor soil quality. This characteristic caused them to be dubbed the poverty bush in Western Australia. The plant was utilized by Indigenous Australians as a result of its widespread growth. As mentioned earlier, the plant was used for its medicinal properties as well as for cultural rituals. In regards to Indigenous Australian use, the plant could be used as a decongestant, an expectorant, and even as an analgesic. The plant is regarded as the #1 medicine, and the Alternifolia species was the most highly regarded of the genus. The leaves of the plant were often dried and stored for later due to how widely used and how valuable the plant was. The plant is a highly aromatic species, and the plant's organic phase is mainly constituted of phenchone. Its structure is illustrated in Figure 5. A major contributor to the plant's healing properties is the alkaloid verbascoside, which can be seen in Figure 4. Verbascoside was also illustrated in the opening slide, and I will talk more about this shortly. As for the medicinal use of the emu bush, there is a large spectrum of ailments the Aboriginals would use it for. So many ailments that I could not talk about them within this presentation. However, I'll mention a few. To relieve colds, influenza, headaches, fever, internal pain, and it was even used as an antiseptic to relieve insomnia and to promote pleasant dreams. The plant was often used as a smoke. Leaves of the Eremophila longifolia were placed in embers. This would produce a wet steamy smoke and would inhibit both bacterial and fungal species. It was also used as part of an ancient custom called the smoking ceremony, which would have cleansing properties and ward off bad spirits. A really good example of the smoking ceremony is the link in orange. It's a short video of Aboriginals engaging in the smoking ceremony in today's times. It was also custom to smoke a mother and her child upon birth. This was supposedly a stimulus for milk letdown and also would cleanse the child. In this event, hot embers were burnt, which would produce a smoke like before, and the baby was just held over it. There's 'another link there if you would like to see an example of this. The smoking ceremony was also used as a symbol of the Aboriginal culture. It was also custom to smoke a mother and her child upon birth. This was supposedly a stimulus for milk letdown and also would cleanse the child. In this event, hot embers were burnt, which would produce a smoke like before, and the baby was just held over it. There's another link there if you would like to see an example of this. The smoke was also used to prepare surgical tools for circumcision. This would sterilize the tool. One of the compounds responsible for the antibacterial properties of the smoke was the negative isomer of genifuranol. I read a paper linked in the references below which observed the compound inhibiting gram-positive bacteria Staphylococcus aureus, Bacillus subtilis, and the yeast Candida albicans. There are several compounds like this and verbascicide which contribute to the antibacterial properties of the emu bush. The plant could be used to make a tea which was drunk to relieve sore throats and disinfect injuries and relieve other ailments. When drank, it could even relieve tuberculosis. It could also be used in the treatment of purulent ophthalmia, and the solution could even be used to relieve eye inflammation. On the right, you'll see someone crushing the leaves with a rock. This was done to prepare it to make the tea. As for cultural use, the longifolia species was considered the most sacred and mystical of all the Central Australian plants, according to Latz. The plant played an important role in ceremonies regarding last rites and male initiation. For example, the plant was intrinsic in the Angwara ceremony. This was a series of ceremonies focusing on last rites of initiation. It was often used in ceremonies to produce an acrid smoke. In Figure 8, you'll see an Indigenous Australian man burning the Eremophila during a ceremony. The leaves could also be used to make a paint, which you could decorate people for ceremonies with. They would use branches of the Eremophila to line graves and shroud bodies. Local to Central Australia, the Northern Aranda people only permitted their group to take water from the sacred watering holes if the longifolia branches were presented when entering the area. The branches were then placed by the water before collecting. Also, flower nectar was drunk and seen as a delicacy. Thank you for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at my student email written below.